Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sox Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Cherezy E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he made a video about that, you drink. If My Sox Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or blames his kids for something, you drink. And if I fuck up the intro or make MSS appear to be dumb, you drink. Tonight only, it's $20 for My Sox Summer to grace you with his thoughts on one Jason Benetti. Oh, not to mention, My Sox Summer will be standing the whole time.
I am standing.
Bless you, my son. I want to see how long he lasts, Cherezy. I'm betting against him.
Of course, as always, as always, you could make us drink $4.08 or more. And speaking of drinking, Beef Loaf, what are you drinking?
Oh, baby. I posted a picture on X.com now, with the artist formerly known as Twitter, showing that I got 5 boxes of wine. So I'm drinking a little Nebbiolo that I got from one of my allotments, and it is goddamn delicious. I felt like I needed to drink some wine because I have so much wine now. It doesn't even all fit in my various spots where wine go.
5 boxes. 5 boxes. I like so. If you said I got 5 cases,
it's
cases.
But
you said, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I've had wine delivered to the house before, and it varies in how many bottles are in this case. Is it 12 bottles
12.
in your case? So that's 60 bottles of wine.
60 bottles. Yeah, I mean, there happened to be a couple different allocations coming at once. One of them I ordered up big because I got a bunch of sparkling bottles of wine. So some I'm going to put down for a long time. Some rosés that I'll sit for the summer, and just some other shit. So like, I got a lot, but I won't. It's not all stuff I'm willing to drink right now. But some of the stuff I'm willing to drink, I felt like I needed to get in there and get in on it. You know, just a little taste. Just get a little taste for myself.
Hey, why not? I mean, like, you can't just have that much booze just sitting around. Not getting drunk.
It's kind of funny. This coincides with what have been the third or fourth week of the old style Malort drinking thing, and I think basically what he's trying to tell us in his own special way is, I'm tired of shitting my pants every Friday morning. I am drinking wine tonight. It's wine time.
He's like, I want a big.
My allotment showed up.
I want a big purple shit tomorrow. Mix it up.
Well, I am solo dadding tomorrow. I'm solo dadding, so I got to be careful with all that. I got I got the transport. I got all that stuff. So, I got to be a little careful.
I mean, I like that. I can't talk about how my kids are make my life a little rougher. And this guy.
I just don't want to shit during their car ride.
Yeah.
You can sympathize with that.
I can't sympathize.
Allegedly. I don't want to repeat things on air that you swore to secrecy. So
literally, that's going to be a story that you could potentially buy if you spin the wheel of stories that we're going to have coming in 2024. So get ready.
MSS, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a nice little bottle over here, the Knob Creek 9-year, and it's it's 100 proof. Now, our guy Dougie, he turned me on to the Knob Creek. He was like, Knob Creek is a great bourbon, and it is also appropriately priced. So if you want something that's a great bourbon and appropriately priced, go get some Knob Creek. Cherezy, what are you drinking?
Doesn't matter.
I think it does matter.
Because CJ wants some time of yours, but I will quickly tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking some Bourbon County Stouts because nice. we got our meeting this weekend.
We do.
Yes, we do.
MSS says he refuses to drink any type of beer, even Bourbon County Stout. He's only going to drink brown liquor. So
brown liquor.
I might as well just drink it all tonight. So I don't have to bring it.
I have some that you can have to drink tomorrow.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Are you going to drink brown liquor too?
I wanted it to be kind of a festive thing with us and bring a really nice one.
Listen.
But you're out. You're out on it, and so that's it. That's it.
The last time I did that, though, I passed out at the table.
Yeah, that was awesome. Before we get to CJ's, let's get this drink in from Jerry O'Sullivan. He says, looking forward to a great show. Drinking a combined 45 beers in honor of T.A., Hendriks, and Benetti like the old days. Cheers, boys. I'll do my best if I do that.
62 for Q.
That's right.
That was a good time. That was a good time.
But now we got to get to this one. MSS, we're going to talk about Benetti a little bit more later, but give us your thoughts. I'll get the clock rolling for you.
Okay. We're going to do 5 minutes of Benetti.
5 minutes of whatever you want, really, but you could start with Benetti.
Oh, all right, cool. Jason Benetti, we wake up to the news today, or not wake up, I think it was 9 o'clock when we got the news that Jason Benetti is no longer with the White Sox. And I think originally you're thinking, okay, well, why? Because they just renegotiated a contract and it's been less than a year, so you're kind of like, about a year, right? You know, like actually it's probably been less than a year. And you're like, well, why the fuck is he not going to be there? And then you look into it and you're like, oh, he asked if he could speak with the Detroit Tiger organization, you know, a great organization, also located within the AL Central. You know, if you're going to jump ship, jump straight into the same league. Like, don't even go somewhere else. Just be in the same division as the same team. We don't need you to move too far. Just stay right here. And so you see that and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. But then you remember all the bullshit that went through with the contract, you know, or the new contract last year. People were like, why does Jason Benetti need an agent? You know, he should deal with his agent. And then the Sox were like, we're not dealing with your agent. We're dealing with you. The deal's with you. And then all this stuff comes out and they're like, well, we don't want you leaving your job. We want you, when we're paying for you to be here to work, we want you to stay here and work. And they're like, well, he's like, well, maybe sometimes I don't want to work. And they're like, well, maybe you don't. So it was it's very confusing, you know, that whole situation and how that shit went down. But it made sense that he would go to a job where the affiliate, from what I can tell, is Fox, and that's who he works for. That's his boss. That's his big boss is Fox. Detroit is also Fox. So that makes, I'm sorry, I just was making sure my kids aren't sneaking down here and looking at me, standing up, doing work. But no, so it was a good scene there. You know, like, you're just like, okay, he's going to work for Fox. He's going to work, you know, in Detroit, and we spoke about some of the details here before the game, and he's going to work less. He can go do what he wants to do, and that's what he's always wanted to do. If from me. Now, listen, I like Jason Benetti. I think he is great. I think he is a great announcer, and he's been fun. He is also a huge fucking 108 guy, and he would bring us up in the broadcast, and that's something that I'm probably going to miss unless we have some type of a fan event, holding out hope for Sox Fest, so I can tell Aloha Mr. Hand to shove it right up his ass that we're going to have a Sox Fest. We need to meet the new broadcast team so they'll talk more about us and, you know, keep our heads inflated because, you know, we're so full of ourselves as it is anyway. So, you know, we need to continue to be on the thing. Now, this is where it gets weird. Okay? Who's going to be the new guy? Who's the new guy that's going to replace? Now, everyone's like out there on the internet and they're saying, I want this guy. And 9 out of 10 times when people say, I want this guy, I have to Google the person because I have no fucking idea who that is, right? Like, I know Jason Benetti and I know Steve Stone. Those are the only 2 baseball announcers I know. I know Len Casper does radio, and I know DJ and Darren Jackson does radio too. And then I know Connor McKnight fills in and does postgame. Now, for a team that was going to have an exhausting search for a GM, how exhausting will the search be for a fucking guy that half the people are going to hate regardless and half the people are going to love? So it doesn't even matter who you pick. You're going to pick whoever's closest. Who's closest? Connor McKnight. He's going to be the guy that's going to get anointed, right? He's going to get dipped. They're going to dipstick him. They're going to throw him right out there and they'll be like, hey, listen, you go out there and you go do your thing. Now, last thing, Connor McKnight's my guy. That's who I think is going to be there. Last thing. Our guy, Ben, the airbender, he put out a thing, said, and he was making fun of the other guy, and he said, is this what you guys want? And posted a picture of Gordon Beckham. Now, I, as another guy with 80 grade hair, in a room with people with 80 grade hair, said, yes, I do want that guy. Gordon Beckham from from the year before to last year was amazing. He made strides. He is like working on his craft. He is honing his craft. All I said was, yes, I would like this guy. I didn't say, I want this guy to do play-by-play. Okay. I got people up in my mentions going, oh my God, he's a horrible play-by-play guy. He's going to be color. He needs to be color. That's not what I fucking said. They asked you. I was asked, would you like this? And I said, yes, I would like this. Okay. I didn't say I need him to do this specifically and this at this time and replace Jason Benetti. I understand how people made the grass because most people are fucking stupid. So I get it. They make the grass. They're like, yeah, he's just saying replace Jason Benetti. No, that's not the fucking case. I just would like him in there. Maybe he'll do color when Steve Stone decides he's going to retire too because he's fucking tired of this bullshit too. He's just like, I can't watch this anymore. I'm done. All right. And that's 5 minutes with MSS.
Well done, MSS. I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I don't either.
Are you special?
It was a Frank the Tank moment, and I just kind of went through there. And I hope CJ likes that. And CJ, what I will do is I will send you a Wave Sucks hat for your donation. I appreciate it.
CJ says, "Sorry, everyone. I think this was a mistake."
You just got a hat. I'm gonna send you a free hat. Usually we have like something that we discuss through what we're gonna do.
Nothing's free. Nothing's free, and we just found out how not free that hat is.
Tell me what you're drinking, Tracy.
I already told you. I'm drinking Bourbon County Stout because you
you did say that. I'm sorry.
But Beef, how are you doing tonight?
Boys, I'm pretty good. I had a very fun experience over the weekend. I went to the Iowa Northwestern game at Wrigley Field. You know what? Wrigley Field's a great place to watch a football game. Here's a little picture of me just having some chips at Big Star. Me and Bonita
nice place
just
to eat.
getting down James Brown. It's funny. It was funny though. We get up there 2.5 hours before the game starts, and like we go to Big Star and like, well, we got a long wait or whatever. We didn't make reservations anywhere. We're like, well, if they're used to handling game traffic for the Cubs, we'll be fine. You wouldn't believe how fucking packed all these fucking places were. Lines spilling out into the goddamn street. And then Bonita made me realize something I would have known if I were much younger. I would have realized this. She's like, Dad, there's probably a lot of people here who are not going to the game. They're just hanging out at the bar. And I'm like, fuck, yes, you're absolutely right. That's what's happening here. We eventually get back in Big Star, and you see us we're having those chips or whatever. Go to Wrigley Field. I took a picture of us outside there, MSS, just to taunt the people that complain about Sox. It was a sea of people. We could not get into the goddamn stadium. It took 20 minutes for us to move like 5 feet. Because guess what? Wrigley apparently was not ready for everyone to show up at the same time. Nope. Remember that complaint? Well, everyone showed up at the same time. Well, for a football game, everyone drinks outside, and then they come in all at once and try to jam through the doors. It was fucked up beyond belief. A couple things happened to me, though, at the stadium. I was surprised. Number one, I get in line. So they are selling beer, which is great, because not all college stadiums sell beer. And I'm getting in a line, and Wrigley has beer stands everywhere. And like I pull out my wallet, I'll call it, my money clip, and I recently got a corporate card, so I got that in there too.
Is
and
it a 108?
The cards are too tight, and I can't fucking get them out. And I'm trying to get a card, and I'm like one person from being in line, Tracy. I'm sweating like fuck. I can't get my fucking card. I even licked my finger as if like I'm moving a page to try to get my guy. So I eventually had to get my fucking nail in there to get one of my cards out, so I was able to pay something. I had so much anxiety in line, man.
You know about paying from your phone, right, motherfucker?
Yeah, but I never do it. I always pull the card out. Yeah, so I was freaking out for no fucking reason. Okay, that's number one. Number two about being at the game, surprising to me. I've been to Wrigley Field 1 million times.
Yeah,
I've peed in the trough 1 million times. I enjoy it. This crowd, they're not interested in a little meat gaze. They're not giving a little peek. There was no peek over. I looked around.
Man. You're trying to show off.
Well,
You're trying to show off.
I want to see what the competition looks like. I give it a little peek. Nothing, not like Larry David when he's really looking at Muggsy, but you give it a little peek just to see what everyone's packing. This group was very straight ahead, so it's like the football crowd is not as loose as the baseball. The baseball crowd is like, hey, see your sausage, you can see mine. And there was none of that here, man. Everyone was really weird. Like tight. And I was surprised by it, MSS, but all in all,
like to look at Dick at the old football game.
Just a little look, just a little peek to see, man, that guy's an anteater. Like little thing like that. Nothing me. I'm not meat gazing fully. Just like, okay, what's the competition look like over here? But but outside of that, I had a great weekend. But outside of that, I came to a stark realization that's scaring me a little bit, boys. Right now, I'm a little horny. I'm crushing on someone who I don't know if you guys would put her in the fugly category or not. And I'm almost ashamed to say who it is. But it is Brittany Mahomes. For some reason, I'm now like crushing on her a little bit, and like
What?
she's not attractive, but I think here's what happened, Treasy.
And horrible. She's horrible. Like she's an
She's
annoying
really not that
person.
bad.
Let me tell MSS is sticking up for me. Not that bad. MSS not that bad right here.
No,
not that bad.
MSS. I am saying she's horribly annoying. That's what I'm saying.
So
The gums are a little, I don't know. Well,
lot of
anyway,
gum.
I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
But no, I was just gonna tell Teresi, like I watched that quarterback show on Netflix, and like all I'd heard about Brittany Mahomes.
You watch that quarterback?
quarterbacks.
Oh, that's what he's thinking I'm doing. He's doing. He's like,
guys-
oh, you saw her.
What are you guys doing in your free time?
Well,
One
it
guy's gawking at hogs, and the other guy's watching the
Sometimes-
football show. Like, I'm a little confused here.
Sometimes a man needs relief, sure easy, and sometimes I have to be the man to give it to him. So
Here's your relief. Go ahead.
No. What I'm going to say is in that show, like I was expecting her to be way more annoying and come out like not as endearing as she did. She is a diehard like athlete, but she's also a ride or die for her husband, which is
I like
just
that.
like it's unbelievable, and it gave me a different perspective. Cheers,
Danny.
Danny.
Thank you. Bless your heart.
Danny says, definitely going to listen to the audio tomorrow. I'm at the bar. I like
Nice.
that Danny is just like getting a visual
Hey man,
on his phone at the bar right now and just being like, what the fuck are these assholes talking about?
He looked it up and he's like, "What the fuck is that gummy bitch doing
Guys-
up there?" Like,
no, they're probably like, what kind of weird porn is Dan watching at the bar with three dudes? What the
the
fuck?
commenters are on my side. K Dog says true Mexican out of potential out of
No.
beef. Full love for below average.
No.
white
Let
and then
me.
Timothy Maher says Beef's making his move on Brittany Mahomes and get close to Taylor Swift. Red paper
Bullshit.
clipping his way.
Nope.
Go ahead,
You guys,
Teresa, go ahead.
I know this beef move because beef taught me this move. All right?
boy.
Let's see what
This
I'm
was
thinking.
a very successful move for a long time.
Oh no, I think I know the move.
You walk into a bar and there's like the hot girl that all the guys are talking to, and then there's her friend there is like, hey, why ain't no one talking to me? And that's who beef wants to go talk to.
Yes.
If any of you guys in the chat are single, it's a money move. All right, it's a fucking money move.
Tracy, that's exactly what I thought. When I'm thinking about this, I'm like, you know what I did? I went back to my single days. That's the low self-esteem friend. Because she's there with Taylor Swift. She's the low self-esteem friend. I'm like, fuck, wow. That's why I crush her on.
But sometimes the hot.
You know what,
girls
though?
are
I
low
heard-
self-esteem.
I heard her husband. I heard her husband makes a
he
bit
does
of
okay.
money.
He does
Look,
probably
little bit.
Probably wouldn't be
Might
interested in me
own
at
a
all.
baseball
And
team.
whatever.
Hey, but you know what? You have a White Sox podcast. That motherfucker only owns part of the Royals.
That's right.
He has
That's
two
not bad.
White Sox podcasts.
Yeah,
He has
that guy's just a partial owner of the Royals.
No big deal.
Fuck him.
an actual MLB team in which he talks about on two shows free. I mean, who's not going to jump in your bed at that point? I mean, to me.
Hey, let's not say free. Just below minimum wage. All right.
That's true. Not entirely free. There's some
Not totally free. It does take a toll on our body too. So.
Thank you for the $20, CJ. That's basically what Beef made tonight in trying to compare himself to Patrick Mahomes.
After fees, we have $13. So there's split
Regardless.
between three of us. We can't even get a combo at Lawrence's for $13.
That's
to be
okay.
honest.
It's good.
We'll figure it out,
We
though.
appreciate you, though.
Guys, is it my
MSS,
turn?
how you doing?
I'm doing good. Guys, I fucked up. I fucked up like 10 minutes or about 20 minutes before this podcast.
You put your
Because-
standing desk up?
No, it's 6:30. no, I like this. It's 6:30. It was actually at 6:30 this evening. Group email, and one of the things that I like, but I don't like, is that the teacher sends us an email, and all of our email addresses are on the email. So
Ooh, I don't like that.
I don't like that at all, because then you see the things, and then there's possibilities for your boy to fuck up like he has done in the 17th email that she's probably sent out this year. It only took me under 20 times, but I finally fucked up. Somebody sends out a message and says, hey, will the parent that invited the kids to the, invited the kids to the birthday party, please post the invitation. We seem to have misplaced it. Now, okay, they don't at Little Miss Shortstop School, they won't let you pass out invitations unless you're passing them out to the entire class. I am under the impression that this is the case. So I'm like, oh, it's right here. I'm fucking super dad. I got these 2 kids already in bed and or going to take a shower. I got some time. I'm like, oh, click a picture, send it right off to everybody.
No, don't do that. It's not you.
No.
It's not your party. Don't do it. You stay out of the way.
I shouldn't have done that. I was just trying to be helpful.
No.
I done fucked up because what was the first email after that? I sent that. Oh, it looks like we were unaware of this party. We didn't know. Was this only for specific people or was everybody invited? And I go, you done fucked up, my sock summer, you dumb motherfucker. And why did you do that? And then I'm like, okay, it's totally like the person that did that passed out invitations at school did the first fuck up. But then I just spiked the ball on the fuck up. If it's not, everyone didn't get invited. Now listen, these are kindergartners, right? They lose shit constantly. They also make shit up constantly. So they could have, maybe the kid lost it, maybe the dad has it or the mom has it, and they don't know. I don't know. But everybody, if you're into Jesus, give me a prayer out tonight that I didn't just fuck some shit up, that I'm not going to get fucked up when I walk into the party at Lansing, or the best possible thing that could happen, I endear myself to all the parents because they're like, look, he's the big stupid fuck up White Sox guy, like this is great. We can't be too mean to him. He just lost his favorite.
I like that you almost gave the address to the party on the show.
Oh, it's in Lansing.
We already heard it. Yeah. Thanks. We're not invited either, but we'll show up.
There's not like one place that you go to Lansing and they're like, the party's right here. There's like a million places to go.
This is a question for you guys.
Okay.
Why don't you read it?
Daniel says, taking our boy on his first vacation this weekend for my 33rd birthday. Monday.
For his 33rd birthday.
To the White Sox. I was like, wow, that's late for a first vacation. Any tips on toddler vacations, guys, especially in the fall? MSS, I'll let you go first since you're a little more experienced with it right now. But
I mean, listen, if you have a tablet, I mean, you might want to consider it. At least to watch a movie, bring it with you. I don't agree with tons of screen time, but when you're in a car and you're like kind of all locked up, like you need that. Second biggest, most important thing, fucking snacks, bro. Make sure you have tons of snacks because a snack will buy you 30 minutes, right? Like if that kid starts freaking out and they're just upset and they're like, God damn it, I'm hungry. And we all know what the kids are like when they're hungry. They're not nice. I mean, I'm not nice when I'm hungry. I mean, none of us are really all that nice, but like kids are really fucking awful my kids are really fucking awful when they're hungry. So make sure you have snacks. So tablet and snacks from the old MSS. What about you, Loaf?
I mean, I would say find ways to entertain them that doesn't require a lot of time of doing something. So like a good example of this would be if the kid swims or likes being in the water, go down. If they have an indoor pool, go in the pool for a while. Because even like a half hour of you guys hang out in the pool will tire the kids out, and it'll be a lot of fun for them. So you want to do something that's a lot of fun. When we were going on vacations, we go to the islands or Bahamas or Jamaica or whatever. When Bonita was younger, the pool time was great, and she'd swim around. She had a great time. And like at night, it was like, all right, we're gonna chill in the room. We'll watch some movies, all that stuff, and she passed out early. So like, if you can do that, do that shit.
Dude, that is a good veteran move. You should always be the pool dad because and plus, like honestly, who doesn't like going in a pool? Right? I love going in a pool. Like, 'cause being in the water is fun. Yeah. Then you can tell mom, yo, chill out. I mean, I know it's your birthday, Dan, so maybe you should get her to go in the pool or you guys go in the pool together, whatever. But, like, you can be like, Mom, I'm going to take the kids to the pool. And then you hang out and watch Lifetime movies without us in the hotel room. That's great. You have a good time.
There you go, Dan. 34 minutes of tips for you. But cheers. Cheers, my friend.
Hey, that's a good return on his dollar. Okay? That's what Jason Benetti was looking for. No big deal.
CJ reminds us we need to take a drink here because MSS blamed his kids for him being a screw-up. So we're going to drink.
That's true.
That's a plus.
Can't believe he's always using the big dumb white guy out.
Oh,
that's
always.
I love the big dumb white guy.
I would love to change his name on the show to that. But, I don't want to be racialist.
How you doing, Treasy?
You know what? Once again, annoyed by commercials.
What the fuck?
And it's not even a werewolf thing this time. It's not Derek Jeter's a werewolf. Although I keep seeing that commercial and no one's talking about it. I don't understand why no one's talking about it. You know which one is annoying me though? Because like I had the Bears game on before. It's over on the TV over there. I have no idea what they're doing. But they keep showing this AWS commercial during the Bears game. And it's like, it used to take some asshole 6 months to write up the schedule for the NFL. Now, with our AI machine learning algorithm bullshit words, we can do it in 42 seconds. But we can't figure out how to evenly divide the morning and afternoon games so that red zone isn't fucking terrible.
Yes.
It's the easiest fucking thing on earth to do this. And they're like, we got every computer in the world is focused on this shit. We got 15 million servers running so that we can get the perfect schedule. And every week we have 2.5 games on it at 3:00.
The worst. Absolute worst. Fucking terrible.
I fucking hate it. I can't it's even annoying from betting. Like, how am I going to get through these 11 games in the morning and then like at 2:30 I'm trying to catch up all my money and I only got 3 games to bet on? This is fucking bullshit.
At least some afternoons you got nice eye candy, Treasy. There's some upside to just a couple afternoon games,
Man, she's ride or die, though. I'll tell you that, man. She is ride or die.
We got a drink from Senior Sucks. Senior Sucks says, MSS. You see that new Alexis, Texas?
I should have done 5 minutes on my meeting Alexis, Texas. That would have been
Senior
great.
Sox, our wives are all out of town this weekend, so all of us might die in a master beating. This new video you keep telling us about.
I mean, not together. Separately.
Well,
in
but
our
you
own
never
homes.
Oh, we got a meeting tomorrow.
Saturday,
We'll see what
Saturday,
I don't
together,
wanna-
so why not?
I'm not into circle jerks. Senior Sox. I met
Great
Alexis,
band.
Texas, at a convention of all adults and adult performers, and she was not the nicest person. And I was telling Loaf that the other day. I'm like, she straight turned me off. Like, I was just like, you know what? I don't think I can even look at you the same way anymore. Until she did that threesome with with Gianna Michaels, and then I was like, okay, I can watch her again. She's okay.
She redeemed herself. She redeemed herself. And MSS is
That's a good scene.
That's
I mean,
important. I'm glad that happened. I'm very
like,
glad
hey,
that
listen,
happened.
She's now a
Sometimes you have
good.
to change.
She's now a good person. But, which, by the way, you guys always talk about it, and I never disagree. But I am a bad person. We all agree on this.
100%.
Yeah.
And so this was amplified the other day. So me and Cornsey were at a play. We're going to at this musical, and our seats for these things are usually in the second level there, like the loge or whatever. And it's usually think about it like the club level at the Sox game. So there's only like 3 or 4 rows in these things.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and Beef, it's been a thing lately. Like, I've told you about this a little bit. Like, these Tuesday shows, like, there's these older people showing up like Friday drunk on a Tuesday, and I love it. I'm here for it.
So pleased
I'm here
about
for
it.
And so this guy walks by me, takes one step, and he like kind of misplants as he's going down. And then he was tipsy. I saw him when he walked out. He was a little tipsy. So he like misplants and he takes a little stumble. Now, what I need you to know about this upper deck situation is that the ledge is not high.
They're not wide.
So like this guy takes one more bad step and it's over. It's over. Good night.
He's like Nordberg going over the.
Yeah, it's goodbye world is what's gonna happen.
Goodbye.
There was not one fucking ounce of my body that was like, you might want to grab this guy.
No.
Everything else was me
Might
just
go
like,
Did you get your phone out to film it? It's such a viral one.
I
you
couldn't
screw that
because my body was shivering with laughter. So like I couldn't do anything. And like luckily this play was a comedy because there was like 8 times the rest of the night that I just thought of it and was like
You are a bad guy.
hello. But yeah, I'm a bad person.
We're aware. Yes.
So in conclusion,
Fuck AWS and
Guy made it out and you're pissed.
and I'm sorry that guy lived.
sorry, you lived.
MSS, pay some bills, my
Let's
friend.
do this. It wasn't even November. We got dumped on by great white flakes from the sky. Cars were sliding this away and that away. The last thing you need during the holiday season is a goddamn car accident. Those things suck balls, but you can only control so much. The Mazda CX-5 earned a Top Safety Pick Plus rating from the IIHS. This award identifies the Mazda CX-5 as one of the best choices in terms of safety. Top Safety Pick Plus winners have good ratings in the driver's side, passenger side, original side, roof strength, and head restraint tests. What's more, these vehicles have an advanced or superior rating for available front crash prevention. So even in an accident, your Mazda will protect you. Visit MazdaRolandPark.com to get all the specs and details on the complete line of Mazdas. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Happy holidays from your friends at Mazda of Orland Park. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
Fellas, it's beat me to it, huh?
I was going to go with the new one.
All right, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's time for White Sox talk. And of course, what we're going to talk about is the there's 3 people that have left the org, and I think we need to go one by one and really talk through them. And the first one is Tim Anderson. Now, Beef, you wrote or did a video, I should say,
Yep.
and that means we all got a drink. Did a video on Tim, and there was probably we kind of all got around to him not being a White Sox. We had an idea that was coming.
Yep.
There were certain ways it could go. It went kind of the most straightforward way. They just bought out the contract.
Yeah.
But Tim Anderson was such an important part of this org for basically the whole time that we've done the blog and the podcast.
Yep.
And so we just kind of want to go around and just give some good Tim memories, because there's a lot of them. And I think that he's just an electric player for the time that he was here. I know it ended kind of poorly, very poorly, but
not great.
But there's definitely moments that were just insane that we all love. And I think I'll start because I'm going to give the most obvious one. I think it's the one that everybody went crazy for, which was the walk-off in Iowa. I mean, that was one of those things where I'm watching at home, and I still jumped up and yelled and clapped like I was at a game. It was that exciting.
Yes.
It's hard when you're at home and you're just watching that game, not really a big crowd or anything. I think, Beef, you were over, right?
I was over, yeah. Mrs. Beef came over, yeah.
But if you're not around the big crowd or anything, it's tough to just go nuts. But we were jumping around. We were so excited, high-fiving. That's an exciting moment. And that's something that the bad year, maybe year and a half that we just saw out of Tim, that'll never cloud what I saw in that game, right? That game is still awesome. That I'll always have that bobblehead, right? That's just it's just a part of White Sox lore now. And I think it's just good to appreciate that we got something like that out of such a dynamic player.
Yeah, it was such a great moment. The game was back and forth. So, MSS is saying, it was a great win. It was a back and forth battle. It was one that, at that point, you didn't think you're going to win. And then Sebi Zavala draws a walk, which never happens. He gets on base. It's and then Tim is up in a spot to give that. And that's when during the ride up too. So as we're riding up and we're okay, we made the playoffs in 2020, but that was kind of the partial year, whatever. But now it's our time to shine, and to have a big win like that, national audience standalone game that rarely happens in MLB, was such a yes. We're coming of age, and who knew how short that would be? But at that moment, the gravitas was tremendous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
MSS.
I agree with that. I see now. Listen, I did this a little different, so I'm gonna give you what I wrote down for my man TA, and what I did. I wrote something on February 7th, 2017, and it was directly after I went to 2017's version of the Sox Fest, and I said, a question of marketing always seems to come up, mostly that the Sox don't do it well. I disagree. I think they do an excellent job trying to appeal to many different bases. Problem is, especially this year, they don't really have much star power to use right now. Abreu, Q, Frazier. But some of these young kids got it going on. And then I went on to talk about other people too, but most importantly, Tim Anderson can be the next best thing, big thing. Believe you me, he's poised to make it happen. Just hope he doesn't go the way of the Beckham, which is kind of funny given today's tweet that caused so many ruffled feathers. So they should be blasting him out this season if he does anything of value. Now, this was in 2017. People will tell you they have been Tim Anderson's biggest cheerleader for his whole career. Not one person was saying this in 2017. He was still wearing number 12, and he was struggling, and he struggled for 2 more years after that. But it was just he started to come into it, but it didn't really start firing our cylinders for a couple of years. So your boy was the guy, the original person to come out there and call it that Tim Anderson was going to become the face of the franchise, and marked by the bat flip bobblehead they made in 2019, from 2019, where he got in a fight with the entire Kansas City Royals, who now we're trying to re-sign and put on our team. And then the walk-off home run.
MSS.
Yeah,
that's why he's out. He fought with the Royals. He can't be here.
You disrespected
They're bringing the whole team over.
Pitcher.
You can't.
I don't remember the pitcher's name even. That's how shitty he was, but that's who he disrespected. So they're gone. And then the walk-off home run in Iowa, as Treasy alluded to, TA is everywhere. He was even in DQ commercials with DQ commercials with Bryce
That was
Harper.
later.
Hey, no, that was. We decided we weren't going to talk about that MSS. Okay,
that's still coming.
Yes.
So they even made a documentary about him and how he became Tim Anderson in 2021. Off the field issues and injuries might have played a role in his declining performance, because his World Baseball Classic performance in 23 was something that people looked at and pointed to and said, hey, this guy, maybe he's turning it around. And he was at second base, and people were like, well, look, he's doing what he can to help this team win. Everyone was very excited. But then Pedro Griffel's plant, Hanser Alberto, fucked up a routine double play and got Tim all clipped. And then Team at TA struggled all of 23. And so the Sox declined his team option of $14 million seemed like a no-brainer. Now, it's definitely hard to see Tim Anderson go, right? We all love Tim Anderson, especially, here, we're getting there. We're getting there. My kids, the Little Miss Shortstop's favorite player, she's on the right there, and she's 2.5 years old in that picture, is Tim Anderson. And when it's your daughter's favorite player, it was I did not tell her until Aloha Mr. Han reminded me that I should probably tell her. And I told her, and she didn't cry, but she was very upset that her favorite player was there, and she wasn't even comforted by the fact that I said, hey, listen, he could come back, but at a much cheaper rate, so he's probably not coming. But he might come back. Now, in 2000, I can't remember what year it was that we went. I think it was 2018. We had VIP passes for Sox Fest, and it included a meet and greet, take a photo with Tim Anderson. And I think Wally Money gave me his pass so Little Miss Shortstop could come meet Tim. We were standing in line, and we walked up, and she came up. She was, I go, it's your turn. You should go ahead, and you can go ahead and go say hi. And she yelped, and she jumped right into Tim Anderson's arms, and he picked her up and was holding her. And I walked up there, and he told me to get out of the picture. He told me to get out of the picture and to let them have the picture first and then come in after, which I happily obliged because I look like a fat piece of shit. So I was just like, yeah, feel free, take a picture with the good-looking one. And so, yeah.
Hey,
and,
you sure? You sure you look fat? Okay,
oh, my God. That wasn't even the same time. I was probably skinnier on the left. But anywho, so after this is over, we're downstairs. This is when the 108 is just really starting to fire off. I'm talking with Brooks Boyer, Ozzie Guillen's there, and then who walks up but Bree Anderson, and she is with her oldest daughter, who was exactly the same age as Little Miss Shortstop, and she is talking to us. Bria is talking to us. We're having a good time. I'm looking at both the girls. I'm like, this is your favorite player's daughter. Like, you should talk to her. And they're both looking at their own shoes, not talking, and I still give Little Miss Shortstop shit on almost on some regular basis. How we could have been best friends with the Andersons and we could have been hanging out with these guys, but you didn't even make a move. You didn't even make a move.
Look at this.
Man,
ruined my life.
unbelievable.
MSS. There's two pieces of that story that I got to point out, and I think the first is very obvious that just fucking happened, which is you trying to use your kid to become friends with Tim Anderson's family.
Yep.
But
It just happened.
The first was Beef, and I don't know if you caught this. The disappointment in MSS's voice that his daughter didn't see how great it could be that maybe Jerry Reinsdorf could save some money. Like she doesn't have the same passion as you for Jerry saving a few bucks.
No, I didn't say that. It's like, oh, this could be a really good thing. I said there's a possibility that this could happen, but I don't think that's going to happen because no one really takes less money when they're offered that, and they're like, hey, just do the same job, or kind of the same job, and then let's do the next thing.
I mean,
So those are my thoughts on TA.
that is what they're offering him, though, right? That is the.
Right.
I mean, like you could tell from the rhetoric that we've heard so far, and even Tim Anderson's statement where he says, "If this was my last game with the Sox,"
Yeah.
that there's something open probably where it's like, go ahead, go test the market, Carlos Rodon, and if you can't get anything, come back, and we'll give you $3 million.
It worked out really well for Carlos too.
It did.
Because he came
It
back,
did.
he showed what he was
very
worth,
much
and then
did.
went and signed a hell of a nice contract with the Giants, and then the
And that-
Yankees.
it feels like that offer is out there.
Yeah. So, but I think you were right when you told me that if they were going to try to re-sign him, right out the gate at like a lower rate too, it might have happened right away. But there's always a chance. There's always
But
a chance.
for him, it's that
He's
that's
gotta go
not
see.
that's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, why don't you go see?
100% not.
You leave that offer there, and if they somehow fill up shortstop and second base with the fucking terrible group that's out there, then
they
hey,
will.
you're screwed.
Potentially.
But if you can make more than that, go do it.
Yeah,
Beef,
go do it.
Beef, give us some of yours.
CJ is right. He says MSS blames his kids for not being on the Andersons Christmas list. Everyone drink again. Thank you, CJ,
You know how
for
much fun that
enforcing the
would've
rules.
been?
I appreciate you.
Oh, man. I mean,
No, I don't have- I actually
will
don't-
let Tara go do her thing.
I don't have a laundry list because I initially said let's just throw one each MSS through most of them. So we got
I'm sorry.
a big chunk. No, baby, that's good. I like you going off. When you got some thoughts, fucking give me your
like him.
thoughts. I love them. I love that shit. I love Tim Anderson. For me, though, and neither of you brought it up, and MSS, you had 20 opportunities to bring it up. The black ink is what you'll remember 20 years from now. And in 2019, Tim Anderson won the goddamn AL batting title. And that's special because we are in our mid-40s. And that is only happened twice in our fucking lifetime for White Sox. Frank Thomas in 1997, he hit 347 that year and beat out Edgar Martinez. And then Tim in 2019. And so winning a batting title it was more special when we were younger because you'd check the Sun-Times, the Tribune to see who the batting leaders were and you'd look at it, whatever. The batting title is still a special thing because it's very hard to do. And it's rare in the Sox park because it's not a great park for batting average. It's more of a power park or whatever. And so it's a cool thing that 20 years from now, people are going to look back and say, oh, shit, this guy who was on those teams where they made the playoffs a couple times, he won the batting title. Spoiler alert, he was second in 2020. So he had like a little stretch there where he was
DJ LeMahieu.
just a high. Yeah, it was DJ LeMahieu, and that's who he beat out the year before too, Teresi. So they were battling those couple years. So for me, the big thing is having that black ink on Baseball Reference, being a league leader in something special.
Though, I think there's things that is tremendous, right? Like I'm not taking away from that, but there are things that like that I think everybody could always look at and go, oh, that happened. I think for us is the people in the park, the fans that watch a lot of games. I think one of the things was that Tim Anderson didn't look good at the beginning of his career. No. It didn't look like he could hit, and you start to see him learn to hit in front of your eyes. And like that was one of the cool, you don't get to see that a lot. You don't get to see a player truly develop into someone who wins a batting title right in front of you. Right? Like you start to you sit there and go like, this guy can't hit a slider. And then he's like, fuck you, I can hit a slider now. And like
and hit hard. Like
that turnaround is like tremendous. And it wasn't fleeting, right? It was like this is him now. He can do this. I think like we will always, speaking of the black ink, we will always look at things like he was a below average fielder. and he had a lot of errors. But being in the park, watching those games, we saw a hell of a lot of tremendous plays out of the guy because the range was incredible. And so, especially when he was healthy and fully healthy, like we definitely saw that guy rip some plays that no other player in the league at that time was gonna make. And so, like those are the things too that I'm gonna remember. That's not easily found in the ink, right? It's not in the metrics. It's just something that like I got to enjoy from this player through just watching the game, having a couple too many drinks.
I was going to say, Tracy, they did the same thing they do with all their prospects. They brought him up too early before they were ready, except he battled back and became a really good player. And so a lot of players are getting we're giving the excuse that they were brought up too early and that's why they didn't develop. He said, fuck that, I'm going to develop, and he ended up developing. And sometimes when you're a shortstop and you're turning 31 and you've had a bunch of injuries, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. You're not going to be a great player anymore, and it makes you sad, but it kind of is what it is.
And now that brings a question up, Beef, because you posted this, and I want to
ready to fight people on Twitter.
Yeah, I want to get into it a little bit, and I want to understand maybe what you think of what the commenters think as well. You said that Tim Anderson is an all-time White Sox great.
I guess I did.
I'm going to throw something out there real quick and just kind of frame it for people to think about and see where they put him. Because in pretty much every statistical category, Timmy is in the top 5 or 6 shortstops of all time for the White Sox. Like, it's on the hitting side, And if you look at his stats across all White Sox over the fucking 100 and whatever years they've been around, he's in the top 30 of a lot of categories. And you think about it, like, and I think this is where the question comes in, is a top 30 player in an organization as old as the White Sox an all-time great? And I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. And so, and like being 5th at your position, being 6th at your position, is that an all-time great? So, Beef, give me the case for him being an all-time great.
I'm going to bring it to you in 3 slides very quickly. Number 1, this first slide here is all shortstops from 2018 to 2021, and they're sorted by B-WAR, and Tim Anderson is sitting right there very fatly at number 6. So this is out of every shortstop that played, and you can see the plate appearances and kind of everything. He accumulated that much B-WAR. So that combines offense and defense, and so he's right there with some real luminaries. You see Trevor Story at the top, who, is kind of aged out now and it isn't as great a short, but you have Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts, who just got huge money. Francisco Lindor, who signed a gigantic extension with the Mets. Carlos Correa, who was on those Astros teams that were really good. And then you see Tim right there at number 6. So, like, for that period of time, his prime, he was one of the best ones. And other prime guys there are sitting right there that like superstar shortstops. Was he as good as them? Maybe not. But he's right in the conversation when it comes to B-WAR. Clutchness, okay? This is something that people say, wow, yeah, whatever stats. But tell me when they were clutch. Here is a graph right here that shows all White Sox players since we were born, plate appearances in the playoffs.
So since 1906.
I have them sorted by OPS. And Tim Anderson is number 2 all time in playoff OPS with a minimum 25 plate appearances. I think that's the minimum plate appearances I put in here. Only behind Rock Raines, who had the most ridiculous 1993 playoff that you could ever remember. But, I mean, Tim Anderson hit 485 in the playoffs. Like, when you look at that stat line, it's totally insane, absolutely nuts. He was on base just constantly in the White Sox 2 playoff run. So if you're like, oh, man, well, I want a guy who's clutch. Tim Anderson was the clutchest of that era of White Sox when it came to actually being in playoff games. The White Sox didn't convert on that like they should have, but he certainly held up his end of the deal with the bat. Last but not least, these are all the White Sox by B-WAR with a minimum of 500 games played since 2005. So since they won the World Series, Tim is third in WAR, right ahead of Paul Konerko, who's 4th since that season. Ahead of him is only... I was going to say, is Paul Konerko. Only ahead of him are 2 great Cubans, Jose Abreu and Alexi Ramirez. So that's my case, boys. I think as a White Sox, he's an all-time great. I mean, I'll leave it up to you. What do you guys think? What do you think of the case I've built? What do you think of him overall?
He's not a Hall of Famer,
right? Like, we
No,
know that.
no,
I
no,
A
mean,
team
but-
great. A White Sox great.
A White Sox great. Is he going to be remembered as being a good player for the White Sox? Absolutely. Are they going to build a statue? No. Like, I mean, he's not statue worthy. If this team had won a World Series or something, and he did something to note potentially, maybe you would do something like that. But like, no, I don't think that he's like there. But he's definitely going to be an upper echelon player, and he's going to be somebody that people remember not only for like on the field and then off the field, but just like he made some changes to how baseball is looked at, good and bad, right? Like, people don't like some of the things that he did and whatever, but like he made a name for himself.
All-time Sox great. Yes or no,
Yeah.
motherfucker?
No,
Yes.
I'm saying yes, but I'm saying that
I'm on the fence.
he has a social component too within the whole like baseball thing, not just on the field. Like, and I think that plays into being a great. So yes, I'm going to go with you. Yes, he's a great. Treasy's on the fence. What are you
I'm on the fence
about?
because, like, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, this guy played less than 900 games for the White Sox. Like, it's tough to be an all-time great with that limited amount of games. But then I look at the other side and I'm like, this guy's got 1,000 hits in those games, like in under 900 games, which is like, look it up. That's tough, man. That does not happen, right? Like that's a thing that, like, you look at a lot of guys that you would think that, like, oh, this guy got to 1,000 hits in how many games? It's close to 1,000. So like, so there's a lot of things that push me back and forth, and he's such a polarizing figure, and I think that people dislike him so much. In some cases, that I have to say he's an all-time great because I just want to make people mad.
His polarizing not only off the field but on the field, because great years and then a real bad years. I mean,
And-
he had
and,
early in the career and at the end of the career too.
And like in the middle of when he was playing defense better, when he was in the more athletic years, there was still a debate because the metrics didn't hate his defense, and the errors and the old school stats did, and so it was like, where does he land for that? He's every aspect he's been fairly polarizing. And before we get to the next topic, Beef, I sat down and I realized I didn't have my keys with me, so I don't have my 108ing keychain.
Yeah.
And I've got this second bottle here that I want to get into. And I was like, I'm looking around on my desk, and I was like, do I have a bottle opener around here? And I found this, and this Beef will only know this
Yes,
one, but this
the Dirty Bird.
this is from a band
lighter
that I was
too,
in
right?
when I was like 20. Yeah, this is but it was a lighter and a bottle opener, and it was when I was in Dirty Bird. And see if it doesn't break apart. If I start on fire, call someone.
Thoughts and prayers.
But yeah, be like me, just go ha ha ha. But yeah, that was I was in a band, and we had maybe we smoked some dope, and we were called Dirty Bird.
Allegedly.
It just
No
says
way.
"Burn one with the bird" on this.
Oh my god, that's awesome. That's actually a great marketing little thing there. I remember the band from Chicago gave me a lighter. I held on to that lighter like it was like the last thing on earth. I love that lighter.
I just remember getting the lighters and it being like in this box that looked like you shouldn't have actually shipped this. Like this was very illegal what you shipped. So that's why we haven't done lighters yet, but we will at some point.
I don't think they have the same pull anymore. I think they used to.
The next, I think so. I think people still smoke dope. Not cigarettes anymore.
Nah,
unless you're in the show The Bear. In The Bear, everyone smokes cigarettes, but no one else does.
It is.
Liam Hendriks, guys. Liam Hendriks.
Who do you
want
want
to drink for Liam? I mean, like, so I think we all kind of saw this coming. I did a video about this. That doesn't mean you have to drink, but go ahead and drink anyways. Liam's out probably for the entire season. If he's rehabs really quickly, maybe you're looking at some September games that he might play in. But he's not gonna pitch this year. They only had him for this year on the option, so you could pay it all at once, $15 million. You could spread it out over 10 years, which is obviously much cheaper when you think about how this would lay out. I'm not like like, I'm sad that Liam's gone. I like Liam. I think the only thing that we could have hoped for, though, was a really creative solution by the Sox and doing something like the Red Sox did with James Paxton. I'm not that broken up about this. Like, I think we kind of saw this coming, but I will say this to you guys. I think sometimes we got to get out of the mindset of like, we pay very close attention to this. We know, like, here's his timeline. Here's where he might come back. This doesn't make a lot of sense. But to the average fan,
they don't know.
That doesn't pay a lot of attention. They're seeing Liam Hendriks just kind of be like, we picked up the option to let him go. And it looks like, oh man, why are they letting him go? And it makes sense, but like at the same time, this is a guy that people just love. He's been fantastic here. He came in on a contract where you're like, why are you paying a closer so much money? And then you're like, then you see him come out and he's just rips through the bullpen and like comes out and just strikes everybody out. And you're like, that is why you pay that guy that kind of money. And it's just exciting.
I remember at the time,
player.
Treasy, I wrote about it. I'm like, well, if they want to spend the end money like this, that's fine. But that's not the way I would allocate it. And then Liam came in and pitched great. But also, to me, the most important thing, and Bonita and I were talking about it when he got, he's gonna let go and whatever he's gonna. And it's kind of like you could see it coming, the injury and all that stuff. But to me, he was the one guy that utilized the fact that you could use music and lights and have some fucking fun with things. And when he came into the game, it was electric. I was the most pumped up that I've been since Addison Reed came in to Bow with the Bow by Kid Rock. That's the most pumped up I've been at any Sox game because he actually utilized it. But that's fun shit, right? Like a player that is willing to use all the things to make the game fun and interesting and exciting, like outside of the play, is just special. I really like that, and I hope that we come upon another player like that at some time soon, because that he was a little bit of a unicorn with regards to that, and I loved it. I loved every time he came in, and a couple times they played the part of it, and they let someone else come into it. And we're like, fuck this! They can't let them with the light show. Someone else can't come into the light show.
Right.
Fuck you! You can't cut. It's only Liam's light show.
Yeah.
I mean, when he came back this year,
yeah,
and he came out to that, I mean, like, MSS, I think you got some footage of it.
We
but
did.
Like, that wasn't even, the footage didn't even do it justice.
No,
to, like, the electricity in the stadium. Like, I mean, like, people were like emotional at that moment. Like that, those lights came on. You knew he was coming in, and people were going fucking crazy. Like it was like it was the energy of like the blackout game at that moment, and like you gotta love that. It sucks that he's got to be gone, or at least gone for now. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, that does suck, and he was he could come out there to that kind of an intro because he backed it up, and I think that's why a lot of guys don't want to do that. They don't want to do something spectacular because they don't want to fail. But he also would wear his failures when he had them. Like it wasn't like, you got to take the good with the bad, and I think there's too many people. Nowadays that don't want to wear their mistakes or own their mistakes, and you need to do that. And I feel like he did that. Now, as far as Liam, to me, like, he used his position of power and who he is as a person to have like fun interactions with fans. And just this year, not even played one game, and did his rehab and stuff. But like, he had a tailgate with Paulie D that brought out, tons of fans, that raised money for his Be the Match, Foundation, which like finds bone marrow for people that are suffering with leukemia to get, they have all this stuff. All the money from the tailgate went back to Be the Match, and it's just sad that we don't have more players that are willing to do something like that, or the organization flat out doing something like that, because it worked, it was fun, and it had the intended result, which is like, it's something that we just need to have. The Sox have crawled into a hole to a certain extent and stayed away from people because they're afraid. They're like the dog that's gotten punished. They're afraid they're going to get yelled at for anything they do, but also they don't do the things that they like, the bare minimum of things to do to get the like desired result from the fan. So it's hard. It's hard that a person that's on the, you know, is injured list for like the entire second half of the year organizes a tailgate for fans and raises money for an organization. So we need more of that. We need more of that. It's across the board to like get everybody back into good moods because a lot of you are angry. Saw you today.
I don't know that I could give Liam all the credit for the Pauly D thing because we all know that Mike Tosar is a huge Pauly D fan.
Yes. You know, that tweet did not take off as much as I thought it was going to. But like they threw that video. They threw that video out at the end of the last year, and it's like fucking the manager who was telling, you know, guys to slow down, pay attention, get your head in the game, is walking over to Pauly D and asking him to do a video shout out for Mike Tosar's, you know, niece. Not even his daughter, his goddamn niece. It's just like, come on, my guy. Like you got to live what you're saying, what you're preaching to these kids. Don't get all fangirl on fucking Pauly D for Mike Tosar. This is ridiculous.
You think it was his niece or like a Pete Rose niece? You know, like, I don't know, like what are we doing here?
I mean,
never mind.
What I like is MSS has gotten upset about it 11 times. And no one's getting upset with him. Like, I know, like, he's trying to get, and he puts on Twitter and here, and it's like, and the comments are just like, yeah, okay, you know. And they're behind you. They're behind you on Tim. They're behind you on Liam. And it's like, oh, this Pauly D shit. We don't care.
Say one bad thing about Jason Benetti though. Fuck. Or say that Gordon Beckham should do color. Holy Christ.
Oh, you're gonna catch hell, baby.
Clapped. Right back. Clapped.
But yeah, so I mean, I think we're all sad to see Liam go, but I think we all understand. And like, if they were able to do something where it was, you know, $2 million this year and option for 10 next year or something like that, I think we'd all be down, right? I don't think any one of us would be upset about something like that. But it's not. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to be there. So I think we just appreciate the time that we had watching Liam and like what he did for this team in the city, and go from there. But speaking of someone who's going from here, let's get back to the Jason Benetti thing. Let's talk a little bit about Jason Benetti because I think me and Beef have some thoughts on this. And Beef, I'll let you go first.
I appreciate you letting me go first, Treasy. So first off, you know, in the morning, like MSS said, we get this tweet out there, and it's a statement on behalf of Brooks Boyer, and it talks about, you know, Jason Benetti and how they enjoyed his time here and let him do some broadcasts elsewhere, and he decided that he wanted to explore other opportunities. The Sox let him, and he went to the Detroit Tigers, and how Len's going to stay on the radio side. Steve is kind of awaiting his next broadcast partner, which they're going to work on immediately for the 2024 season. Several interesting things to me. The reaction was crazy. I want to let everyone know Jason Benetti's still alive, okay? He did not die today, all right? Because the way some of you are acting, it's like he fucking died. He didn't die. He went and found himself a really good opportunity for himself.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great for him to do. I have a Twitter DM relationship with Jason Benetti. I've won Sox Math 9 times. We interact some on the broadcast. He'll pull some of my tweets and make fun of me. The second dinner thing from a few years ago had him cracking up in the booth. I thought he had me muted. We'll DM each other occasionally, you know, if something's going on or whatever. Wish each other well, that sort of shit. I'm a huge fan of Jason Benetti. I just want to say, and maybe I'm doing this wrong, I never tune into a sporting event for the announcer. I'm tuning in for the actual action. Today, a lot of what I saw was wild stuff, like certain radio personalities saying, "I think I'm done with this organization." You know, I'm done. I'm out of here. And fans saying, Jason Benetti's out. I'm done. That's the reason to tune into the broadcast. And it's like, I don't really understand that because I like Jason. He's probably one of my favorite Sox. He's one of my favorite any broadcasters ever. I'm not hunting him down when he's, broadcasting the Boise State basketball game. You know, I don't care enough. I won't care about the teams I care about, and you know that's fine there as well. Interesting too, Stoney's comments on Spiegel and Parkins. It made it sound like, and even when you cross this with like looking up some details on the contract, it sounded like Stoney believes that Jason's just going for the best opportunity for himself. He said a couple times, Jason's doing the best thing for him, the thing that he thinks is best for him. And he talked about Jason wanting to be a multi-sport star and that he's like the most prepared guy. And so when I looked into the details a little bit, it was like, yeah, the next job with the Tigers, he only has to work 127 Tigers games, meaning he gets 20% of the schedule off, okay? If you are looking for an opportunity to work less, get paid maybe the same or more, so you can do your recreational, your other things, you want to get out there and do your other interests or whatever, which for Jason is obviously more announcing with different sports and dip his toe in different things, that's a great opportunity for him. And it seemed like over time, he asked and got more and more from the White Sox, but he probably realized there's only so much you can ask from that employer. I got to go to the employer that's hot for me, that will give me absolutely everything I want. And I thought, Treasy, you know who this reminds me of? This reminds me of me. I've always been this guy. I've always been the guy who wants to do my own shit on the side. And so I'm never going to give and my employers are always happy with me and I do a good job or whatever. But I'm never going to be like, I probably should be a couple levels above where I am in progress. But I like to do certain things. I like to do a little bit of me. So it's interesting to look at the whole thing. A lot of people were basically, fuck the Sox. And hey, there's a lot of good reasons to say fuck the Sox. But Jason was looking out for Jason, and he pulled the move for Jason. And that's great. I'm happy for Jason. I want him to do as well as he wants to do. And I'm happy for that. But it's like, I didn't get the connection of the White Sox are bad guys in this because it looked like Jason bailed on a year left in a contract. The White Sox let him out of the contract to go do what he wants to do. I thought, to me, this is just good business. And Jason's a star, and he knows his fucking value, and he's going to do it. And I love it. Love it for him, baby. It's great.
Beef, I get that. And first of all, I want to make one point here is the 20% of the year, think about that in terms for yourself as someone who works every day. That'd be like 10 weeks of vacation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a lot, right?
Every year.
And you only work 6 months a year, right? Like 7 months a year.
He's translating it to
no. I'm saying our work year.
Yeah, our work.
But
I'm saying if you. I'm translating it already. You don't need to retranslate the translation.
But I'm saying he has even more vacation because it's not even a year-round job.
Not true because he works other jobs. No. So it doesn't work.
He gets paid,
and we're going by percentages.
Yes,
we're going by percentages.
I'm gonna punch you guys in the nuts.
God damn it!
Let Treasy make his point.
But the team was fucking terrible this year, right? The team lost over 100 games. People did not like watching that. And a lot of people tuned in and said, you know what? At least Jason Benetti's fun. At least I'm getting a little bit out of enjoyment out of Jason Benetti being the character that he is and enjoying that he's still bringing some love and some life to this game. And so as you leave this season and as you traded away a bunch of guys that maybe people liked, you are now releasing, and as we've talked about, these were the right moves. You're now releasing Liam Hendriks. You're now releasing Tim Anderson. But those are people that fans liked.
Yep.
And you're getting to a point where they're like, it doesn't matter who made the decision, why the decision was made. It's just it's too much. It's this is I'm being overwhelmed with all the people that I like with the White Sox. And for some people, I think that it's just the straw that broke the camel's back, right? This is just too much for someone to bear. Now, I get that. I understand that. But if they sign Adam Amin tomorrow to do this, you're probably going to be all right. You're probably going to be like, I like that guy. I like him on the Bulls. And he's a huge Sox fan, and he's done baseball games. He does baseball games on a national level.
Right.
He knows how to do it. I mean, he's already in the org, technically. If you're thinking about, the overall Reinsdorf universe.
Family. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not out of the realm that they would get someone like Adam Amin, and you would be like, oh, well, that's fine. I think you'd flip on a dime almost of like that. But I just think that it's just been such a battering of this after this after this after this, and then it's and now the news on Jason comes in, and you're just like, oh fuck, one more thing. And I get that. I get why people like I'm like that for other things where I'm not as passionate. You know, it's like, oh, they're kicking this guy out of the band. What the fuck? And it's like, well,
he was coked out.
He smoked crack on stage, and he fucked the lead singer's wife. It was probably time to go. And it's like, you know what, though? I really liked his drumming.
But it's kind of different, though. Because
this is like going to get a solo career or something. This is like Belinda Carlisle leaving the Go-Go's because she's the star. Like,
I'll say this. Right. I'll say this, Love.
It's like George Michael leaving Wham.
It's very sad, but it was for the best for him.
The way some of these people are reacting to the situation, it's just like when your girlfriend dumps you, and then you go, I should have been a better person, so she didn't dump me. And that's what they're kind of throwing back at the Sox. They're just like, you should have made it better for him so he would stay, even though he's like, I want to leave. So, I mean, and that's where I don't get the, like, oh, he's not kicking out of the band. That would be like saying to the guys in the band, is like, hey, listen, I still want to get my fair share of everything, but I don't want to be there all the time. And I'm not necessarily interested in doing these other things. And I have some side projects, but pay me exactly the same and allow me to do whatever I want. Like, I can understand that there being a little bit of contention between that thing, sure. but I also do understand what you're saying, Chirizi, where you're just piling on with all these things. But unfortunately, you have to make tough decisions when you want to have fucking change. Jason Benetti's not going to bring like more wins to the organization, but like I think some of these other guys, you gotta break. What is it? You got to break some dishes, or you got to break some eggs and make a cake, or whatever the fuck it is. I mean, this is what it is. Now, listen, I know it's a little harsh on Jason in the beginning, but I also have something very nice to say. And I think that one thing that I fully appreciated about Jason Benetti was that he understands it. Like, he understands this. He understands engaging with fans across all platforms, and not just saying, well, I'm not going to talk to somebody on Twitter because they're whatever. I'm not going to allow some guy to film a video with his nipples and put it on TV with a name like Beef Loaf, like shit like that. He made Stoney almost relevant again, like asking him old baseball stories, talking to him, making him sing during ads, like just shit like that. Like, he was a 108 supporter, a 108 fan, and it was just very nice to us, even though the first time I took a picture of him with the 108 shirt, he would not touch it because he said, I don't want to get involved with that. I don't know what that is. But in 1 year, we won him over. Like, we won him over, and he liked us. So he understood all that stuff. And he was fucking goofy. He put us into the fucking broadcast. He invited all these weird ass people from White Sox Twitter, Mailman Jack, Jordan Lazowski, Loaf, Sean Anderson, like all these people, and threw them onto the broadcast, made them part of the broadcast. DM Celeste told her good job, good luck on her fucking bar exam, and congratulated her when she did her bar exam. I mean, he was part of the community, and so I can understand why people are very upset, but let's not get too irrational. That's all I have to say.
Well said, my friend. I didn't pay attention, but that was well said.
I was going to say that. Right. That went in the direction there. Like,
so I do want to. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Sorry for making you look dumb. I love you. All right, I want to get to a couple comments real quick. Kirk says, Adam Amin sounded like the biggest Houston homer in the 2020 playoffs. God, was he bad. I get it, though. Adam Amin's trying to hide his fandom for the Sox.
Right. Kirk,
go look at my trade that I did with the Houston Astros for Dylan Cease. I very much undersold Dylan Cease, just trying to hide my Soxness. I'm guilty of it, too, all right? And one more, it's Jesus H. Strawman says, why wouldn't you want your broadcaster to be well known in other venues? Increases your brand. To some extent, but I think that the utility is very minor. And if it's at the cost of your brand, meaning he's not doing your game and I got to listen to some fucking idiots doing it, like, it becomes unwatchable at some point when they're just filling in anybody.
Not anybody who's, but...
but yeah, I'm not throwing anything at Tom Patriarch, but it's.
I love Swimpy.
Sometimes
I do too, but by
the end of the weekend,
drop off is substantial.
It was so good.
I mean, it was good.
That's a good point, Treasy. The going around doing other stuff has a small effect. A big effect for Jason. Really good for him. And like, yeah, you want your employees to be happy. That's totally a thing too. The other thing I saw in the comments too, and this has been brought up a lot in the media, is like, remember the Sox forced him to negotiate without his agent. And I was thinking about this too because this has gotten brought up, but it's only ever been brought up by Jason. And that's kind of interesting in the context of all Sox high up employees that no one else brought it up. And I'll tell you why I think he's the only one who brought it up. And I remember Chris Lanuti discussed this on Sox in the Basement, saying that it was irregular, like in the radio business, for negotiation with an agent. Now, this is years ago when he was doing it. Because Jason wants to use as much leverage as possible. He is pressing every single edge. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a crime for him to do it. It's not a crime for the White Sox to go the other way. And most of the other employees didn't seem to mind. Even all-time guys who were Hall of Famers didn't really seem to mind. They were able to negotiate just fine. So Jason is a guy who is very career conscious, image conscious, knows how much he's worth. He's going to push for every dollar. He's going to push for every opportunity. That's what you're seeing right now. And we should be happy for him, but you shouldn't be too attached to it. He won't be worried if you're not a Sox fan anymore. Trust me. Like, applaud him and be happy for him that he's going to get every last dollar and every last opportunity. It's good.
How many of y'all are going to be Tigers fans now?
I will tell you one thing I'm happy about. Well, I will tell you one thing I'm happy about with this. Because, in general, I'm going to miss Jason. I loved Jason as a broadcaster.
Yeah,
I thought he was really great.
For sure.
I think the one thing I'm happy about is I do get the MLB ticket, and I watch a lot of games. And if we're good, or if we're even close to the division, I'm specifically watching other teams in our division and watching their games.
Scouting them.
Damn. Detroit has had the worst broadcast for ever. So having a listenable broadcast for them is going to be a huge upgrade in my life of watching other teams in the division.
I might actually fought, didn't they? They fought 2 years ago. Their booth, right?
Yes,
did they really?
Yes.
Yeah, and they've said insane shit and but there's those isolated incidents, and then the rest of it is just like a monotone voice just droning on for an hour. And it's just been incredibly bad, to the point where I had an option one time. It was Tigers someone, I forgot who was playing, and for some reason there was only the Tigers television broadcast and not the other one. I chose the radio version of it because I was not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. We got a drink here.
I was gonna say, before we close this segment out, I have one demand. Drew, thank you. He says, cheers, gents. MSS said it best. Jason was one of us. Yeah, he liked us. I think he liked us. I don't know if he was one of us, but he liked us. Yeah.
Thank you, Drew, for recognizing my brilliance. These other two guys do not.
Absolute genius. So. One request, boys. Let me tell you, I think it's fair. The new play-by-play person, before they hire him, they should have to interview with us.
That's true.
I think we should have a chance to pepper them with questions. And I love Adam Levine's work, but we're going to pepper him with questions too.
By you mean
yes.
When you say us, you mean on this show, so our
and the commenters get to
have a say.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, they got to come and be in a box here, and the commenters get to pepper the person with questions.
They're in on it. We're going to find out if this new, let's say it's a guy, is an anteater. We will know that by the end of the interview.
Oh yeah, Billy Wire's last. That
sure. We'll have a quiz. We'll be like, who's on your side, and he has to say Nationwide, and then we're like, who is at St. Xavier, and he'll be like, the girl.
Aaron, we have this lined up. Aaron says in the comments, Beefloaf 2024 Tigers Math Champion. We have this lined up. I got all the Sox Math luminaries and OGs. If they do Tigers Math, we're going to spam the shit out of that broadcast and win every single one for a month. We're gonna lock them down and lock the Tigers fans out.
You can't do that.
Yeah, we're doing
take
it, baby.
That. You can't just you can't travel with that. That is something that needs to stay in Chicago.
If he brings it out, we're going to go and win over there. That's what I'm saying.
That'd be bullshit. That would make all the people that say how much they love him hate him. So maybe you should. Let's see.
I mean, you guys should win easy. There's not math in Detroit. All right. MSS, you want to pay some bills?
Yeah, let's do this. November is here. It's time for all your holiday faves to start showing up. Turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, stuffing, sweet potatoes, dinner rolls, and pumpkin pie. Classic holiday food, but they can get a little stale, right? Of course they can. You can only eat so many turkey sandwiches before you start craving a change. Enter Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. They've been serving up your freshly fried seafood favorites since 1950. So when you've had enough of the bird, get your butt to one of Lawrence's 4 locations and get a full order of coconut shrimp. It's sweet and pairs well with their Thai chili sauce. Add fries and a drink for only $5 more. It's the go-to move all holiday season. Visit them online at chicagoshrimp.com to see all their locations. And through the magic of the internet, you can see their menus and even place an order. Pretty goddamn amazing. Happy holidays from your friends at Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. Lawrence's Fisheries, serving the seafood you crave since 1950.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for this weekend to have some of those Lawrence's shrimp. To be totally honest.
Frick yeah.
I got to put that order in.
All right, now I think we got a little more White Sox talk.
Oh!
What are you doing? Why are you clicking things? Why are you clicking buttons?
Don't
Why are you
touch
clicking
anything,
buttons?
MSS.
All of a sudden, you click the button.
He's you know what? Standing up, he's trying to do too much now. He's trying to do too much. Just stay back.
Everyone's got to look at that. I mean, look at his face in that picture. That's Getzy. I like that he got called Getzy by Brady Sizemore. That was awesome.
The exhaustion of you standing up is really.
I'm not.
It's taking its toll on him. Mental exhaustion.
Oh,
but Beef, you had a few quick bites from Chris Getz that you wanted to discuss, and I'm more than happy to jump into it. So you give it to us. We'll talk about it.
Baby, let's roll. So first off, it was the comment that everyone got in on, and this is the follow-up. But Chris Getz blurted out, "I don't like our team." And here's a follow-up from Dare Van Schouwen's Twitter. He says, when I say I don't like our team, we've got pieces that are talented and attractive, and they can be part of a winning club. But obviously we haven't gone out there and performed, Getz said. It's not a well-rounded club right now. Boys, what did you think of him saying, I don't like our team, and then saying, yeah, we have a few parts, but it's not a well-rounded club?
I love it. I mean, fuck. Like, if he would have said, I really like our team, I think every one of us would have been like, why? Why do you love a 101 loss team? Because that's a bad idea, and I don't think you're good at your job. So the fact that he says, I don't like our team, good. You shouldn't fucking like a 100 loss team. You should be upset that you were even part of that organization. You should be screaming at the top of your lungs that everyone else was ruining your life. And that the only reason that you stuck around and that you took this job was because you think you can fix it. That should be your mantra. That should be your mantra. Everyone else fucked up. Even if it's not true. Everyone else fucked up. I'm going to fix it. Right? I mean, you got to be in that position at this point. I love that he said it.
Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing from coming especially from a fan base that was mad when you would get Hans speak and he'd come out there and just talk shit, to have somebody come out and be honest with the media, which is very important to fans to hear. Like, it's nice that. But now the flip side of that, though, is you've been with the organization for like 7 years, and it's kind of your fault. Like, so, I mean, it's like you can, like, I don't like this, but, like, because they're never going to tell you the full story. So, I don't know. I like that he's at least being honest and coming out and owning it and saying, I don't like this, but I'm here to change this. And here I am actively changing stuff. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing. What about you, Loaf?
I agree with the way you're kind of framing this MSS. I think he's starting to read the room better. So when he first came in, he was saying some things and we're like, what the fuck? You know, like some stuff, but like the first press conference was terrible, right? We're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
So bad.
And then now he's at the point where he realizes, yeah, this is fucked up. And I got a good read on the fans too. And they know how fucked up it is and in what ways it's fucked up. And so like him preaching a lot of like, we need to improve the defense, that sort of shit is hitting home with us because we're watching bad baseball all the time. And it's like the easiest thing to fix and easiest thing to goddamn say. So him being the anti-Han in a way is great. Like that's smart of him. Like,
you don't want that.
Han was the smart dumb guy. Chris maybe could be the dumb smart guy, right? He's not the Ivy League guy, but maybe he could be a little more shifty. So that was kind of like, that's the feel I get from that. The next comment, and this is a tweet pulled from Scott Merkin, and it's Getz on Moncada, and he says, end quote, he's played second base with us. I think he's a better third baseman than second baseman. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some days, perhaps, he goes over to second or plays first, and perhaps even outfield. We'll do what's best for our club. Treasy, what's that mean to you? What does that say to you, my friend?
So, Beef, you and I talked about this last year, about Moncada. And it was like, no one wants to move him off third. Like, he's the third baseman. That's where he is the best. But last year we had Jake Berger, too, right? And we had talked about, like, there should be games when you look at the matchup and you say, I want Berger's bat in lineup, I want Moncada's bat in lineup, and second base makes sense in that scenario, right? And we there are scenarios like that. Right now, they don't have the guys to do that. But you know what Chris Getz is saying with this comment is, as the market shakes out, if it makes sense to get a fucking third baseman, he's going to get a third baseman because Yohan Moncada is only here for 1 year. That's what he said. Don't worry about first base or outfield or whatever the fuck else. What he said was, Yohan Moncada is, we are not picking up the 2025 option. Everyone knows that. If the market shakes out and Matt Chapman is a fucking deal, I'm going at it. And fuck Yohan Moncada. He can play second base. That is what Chris Getz said. And I like that. I like that. Like, it's fairly, to me, it was fairly clear what he was trying to say.
MSS, what do you think?
No, I mean, again, it's another honesty thing, right? And like, we all know it. Everyone sees it. We've been down. We're no one's impressed with how Yohan Moncada is playing for the last 2 years, right? Like, it's this long COVID. It's this. I'm hurt. He's not good. He's dogging it. He's doing this. He's not a bulldog. He's got blah 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 blah. But the one thing that could be going down this year is he does pretty well because he knows he needs to get paid now, and it might be a huge motivator for him to do something. But like, I mean, listen. Chris Getz is not out there trying to blow smoke up your ass and tell you how good Roman Gonzalez is looking in spring training, okay? And he's like going to put it out there and tell you exactly, hey, we're going to try to improve this at anything. We're stuck here now. As Teresa's saying, we don't have an option right now, but we will soon. And this is not our guy, especially at this price.
Yeah, I mean, the other side, Beef, is you know, if he decides, and let's get this drink from Kirk. Cause
I was going to pull that up.
So Kirk says, over under on how long he calls White Sox Twitter a cesspool or worse. Cheers.
Cheers.
I don't think he will. I think he's going to embrace it.
Yeah, I think he's going to get. I think he's going to get in the mud with us. I think he's going to get in the mud with us. You know,
tub with us, not mud. Tub.
Let me say something real quick. So I've been observing Chris Getz a little bit more now that we get him to see him more, and I've noticed something about him. And I think a lot of us have noticed this, and people have said it. But the sunglasses, he wears the sunglasses. And I was watching the interview with him, and you know what? This is what Todd Wilkinson or Vincent Antonelli would say. He never looks him in the eye. He's not an eye contact guy, and I think that's why the sunglasses are on. Like, if you watch that interview with him, he's kind of looking down the whole time. He's kind of looking down the whole time.
He's nervous.
Feels like a guy who should be on Twitter. Feels like a Twitter guy to me. All right,
can't look guys in the eye.
So I feel like, you know, Han had like 15 fake accounts. You know, we think we knew one of them.
We knew one of them. I should say we think we knew one of them. It's been inactive basically since he got fired.
It's kind of shut down. Everything's deleted. It's done.
But it'd be really sweet if he just like at one point plays up. He's like, crushing brews with the boys, $2 heinies all night, you know, or something. That would be great.
I would just love to see a not Chris Getz account show up, but it actually be Chris Getz. That's all.
The joke is, it's me, Chris Getz.
That comment right there is a combination of what you guys are saying to me. Basically what he's saying is, look, all you holdovers from the Han era that Rick would never do anything with, move, or do anything to, keep them in the lineup forever, y'all are on notice. You ain't got no spots. We're changing this whole thing over. So you do well, great, you're going to be in there. You don't do well, or we need that spot, we're fucking moving you somewhere. Right field is where you're going to go, Moncada, if that's where you end up landing. Too fucking bad. Like,
what if Getz looks at the team? What if he's looking at the Oregon? He sees where Brian Ramos is going to end up, and it's the second half of the season. And he's like, well, one of these guys is going to be here next year, and the other motherfucker's not. hey, guess what, Jan? You're playing second base.
Yeah.
Because Brian's going to play third because I'm not going to force him into a bullshit position like we did with like everybody did with Andrew Vaughn.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him play the position he owns.
He should be
and
comfortable.
You
Colson
go play.
should be comfortable.
You go play
somewhere else.
over here. Yeah, it could be Colson. It could be Brian. You don't know
Yeah.
who's going to be that third baseman, right? Like so if he goes that way, like why the fuck not go, Johan, go play second. And if your back breaks, that's someone else's problem in like 3 months.
That's yep. I mean, it's the truth. Also, moving Andrew Vaughn from the outfield to first base, like clearly made his production in alive so much better.
But it was dumb because he was so bad in the outfield. So like it was forget it at his level. At a macro level, you fucked up. Like
So
it was stupid.
it was
It's all
mentioned.
dumber all around.
And Getz has mentioned it too, already about like I think this is the way that Getz saves his kind of why was he bad at his is because he was developing guys or trying to develop guys and they rushed everybody up.
They did.
And so he didn't have time with them. And so like Andrew Vaughn is a great example of that. And that's why he should trade him. But
another one is coming up right in this tweet that I want to bring up to you guys. So another one from Scott Merkin. Getz on Oscar Colas. And end quote, I think he probably benefits from more time in Charlotte, quite honestly. We hope he learns from his major league experience, take advantage of what he's been exposed to, and what it takes to be a major league player. Now, MSS, what do you think of this comment about Oscar Colas from Getz?
Well, Oscar Colas did something to someone, namely Pedro, like that makes everyone just hate him. And I know Ian in like a couple weeks ago was talking about like how they wanted to get him back to basics and be doing the fundamentals of baseball. He was missing these things, and it was pissing off everybody in the dugout too. And it was so maybe Pedro isn't such a big jerk, and he wants to put him back there to like learn these things and to get there, maybe humble his ass a little bit, which is something that is there. And Getz, notably, is obviously Pedro Grifol's like biggest fan, so it's like he's going to go with him. No, I think he is. I think it's his boy.
I think Getz could be out after this year. I mean, I think Pedro will be out after this year. I don't think so. Not at all.
Man.
Treasy, what do you think about that comment?
Before we get to that comment, there's a guy that I'm very suspicious of that they brought in, Beef, and we could talk about this maybe another time, but the Drew Butera move. I know he's just a catching coach, but that guy they might be looking at as
they
future
even said
manager.
it. They even said
might be looking at as future
probably
manager.
a future manager.
That guy feels
said it.
That guy feels like like this is a guy on the up. And they're like, let's get him in here because he's going to replace that guy we didn't want.
Blows my theory,
quote,
but I think
that quote, Beef, I think lends to what I was a moment ago, is that like he didn't think Oscar Colas was ready. I mean, our guy Ian, who's in the comments tonight, he interviewed Andy Burkett. Andy Burkett was like, Colas wasn't ready. Colas had very little time. He had very huge gaps in his playing career. Yep. Like he needed more seasoning. We were all excited for it, right? Like we saw him hit in the minors, and we're like, he's ready. Let's do it. We're wrong. We were fucking way wrong.
We were.
I just the awards are coming out, and I'm starting to see all my Oscar Colas future bets die on the vine. Like so.
Yep.
We were definitely wrong about that. And the thing is, Getz may have been the one voice in the room saying, I need him to stay down. He is not ready. And maybe there was multiple of those that caught Jerry's attention of like, he keeps telling me that these guys aren't ready to come up, and they keep pushing them up, and then they're not the guys that I want.
Right.
They're not the guys that I think about. They're not the guys that I think they're supposed to be. And maybe that's how Getz got the job. Maybe Getz got the job by being the voice that wasn't incompetent. Yeah. And like that made him look very competent.
Compared to the other guys.
Is he? I don't know. Maybe he's just not terrible.
Smartest guy in the room.
Like, but
and sometimes that's all you got to be, right? I'm not just be the smartest guy there. Like,
it's true, right? And so
know where you're at.
Exactly right.
And so when I
You
see
got
a
to break
quote
out
like
A
that,
material if it's a bunch of D's around you.
when I see a quote like that, I just feel like he keeps pounding home, like, don't rush these guys up, like, fill the gaps with reasonable mid-level players until these guys are ready, until someone pushes them out of this guy's got to push you out of position. It doesn't, you don't just grant the position to the fucking guy. And so it's refreshing. We'll see what happens. Right?
Yes.
I'm never optimistic about something. I'm certainly not about this because this team's fucking terrible.
Yes, sir.
But I agree with what he's saying. Like I think the gist of all the things that he's saying makes sense to me, which is refreshing to say the least.
And I'll say, and along those lines, Treasy, it's not just he's saying the things that you want to hear, like Pedro Grifol was saying a year ago. He was saying, we're going to put this jersey on, and this means something. You got to respect this, and then you won't lose 110 games or 101 games. And then, so he's pointing out some specific examples, right? Like, he's like, this looks bad. We're going to fix this. And then he doesn't say, well, we're going to sign so-and-so and so-and-so, but he's like, we're going to look at this. And he's giving enough clues out there to say, hey, we're going to do something more, which I think is not something that we've seen. Now, the real test is going to become is who was the fuck up in that front office, who was the one stopping. And smart money is it wasn't just Jerry, because we had a very expensive bullpen that was a pile of shit. So like they had money and it wasn't spent properly. So hopefully he gets given the keys to the car and is said, hey, listen, go for it. This is what you have to spend, make it work. And I think Getz, from what we can see so far, seems like he's got more of a clue on what they actually need and has some people around him to show him what he does need versus, hey, you know what? I know this guy. He's pretty good at, throwing baseballs when he's healthy. And then all of a sudden we have fucking Joe Kelly, who's hurt on our fucking goddamn team, who doesn't even play, And so, like, it's just, I feel like he's not going to get hoodwinked as much as Han did. And Rick, if you're still on Twitter, you can DM me and tell me to fuck off for saying that. I apologize. You're a great guy. But, like, I don't know if it was like a great baseball mind move on some of these things that were done. And maybe that's all gone now, but we are going to see, and we will know in 6 months if it's all been Jerry's fault or it was like a fucking carnival of faults out there.
What with this topic specifically, like, and I watched the entire presser, and I know you did too, MSS.
I did too, yeah.
I did as well.
You did too, Treasy. The tenor of Getz with regards to prospect capital, people that were coming up, was cautious throughout the entire thing. They asked him about Colson Montgomery, and he's like, you think he starts or whatever? Yeah, probably AAA. Like, he wasn't even committing to he'll be in Charlotte to start the year. And people are like, well, he's going to be on the Major League roster or whatever. Yeah, in the Han era, you were like, oh, man, I think I might end up in the majors. And same thing with Oscar Colas. The Colas thing was a lightning bolt because, you're right, Treasy, we had Ian Eskridge on here, and with his Andy Barquette interview, he said that he wasn't the only voice that was saying Oscar Colas does not belong in the majors yet. And we heard from a little birdie that Han was parading around in November before the season, before the offseason even really started, was like, yeah, Oscar Colas is the right fielder, without even exploring any options, without even going into anything. And Getz seems to be doing the opposite. Getz was very nice and professional to Kenny and Rick on their way out. And ever since then, he has MF'd all their methods of doing stuff and said, I'm going to do shit the exact opposite way. Now, I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if he's competent enough to get it done. But at least you're seeing like a different, I disagree with the way they ran it. So let's try some shit.
It's different, right?
That's different. I don't know if it's good, but it's different.
Right. And when something's terrible and someone offers you something different, you take it.
You're like, this is great.
When you're starving,
it's a Ritz.
Someone throws you a cracker.
Exactly. MSS, that's it. We right now, we got the Ritz in our mouth.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to find out if it's just a plain old cracker.
We don't know because we've never had a cracker. We haven't had cracker in a while, but now we have cracker. So we'll see if it's actually a good cracker or just a regular old cracker.
No, I'm with you. Like MSS, that's a great analogy. I feel that.
Those are all the slides I got. You guys got any other thoughts on the presser or things that Getz has said recently?
I think the biggest thing, with Chris Getz is that he is improving leaps and bounds. I know this is going to shock everybody, but I texted and was texting with Brooks Boyer today, and I said he is much better with the media now than he was at the beginning. You said the same thing, Loaf. Like, he has got it. He's understanding it. Now, did he go take classes and now knows how to talk to people like a normal person, not an amphibian person? I don't know. But he is doing something good, and I'm at least willing to give it a shot, and I'm not going to sit here and, blow smoke up your ass and tell you that, he's going to make everything better next year and this team's going to win 101 games next year. I don't know if that's possible, but, it's at least trending towards something that seems a little bit more positive with a little bit more behind it than what we've seen in years previous.
I hope he's just a little bit better at least, right? I mean, just a little bit better is 10 wins right out of the gates.
Right. I was going to say, a lot of people are being cautious or saying, fuck this guy until something actually happens. And I'm fine with that. Absolutely do that.
Okay with that too.
There has been a lot of activity, though. So it hasn't been inactive. I'm sitting on my hands. Oh, we're fine the way we are.
A whole new coaching staff.
He's added, he's stripped out the front office and added a bunch of new people. He's stripped out the coaching staff and added a whole bunch of new people. We're about to see what he's going to do with the player personnel. The actual 26-man roster and the 40-man is going to be another test to see if he's actually willing to move on a lot of this stuff. It'll be interesting. My perspective is I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to see something different, something that is at least going to pique my interest. I don't know if he'll be competent at this. It'll be years before we fucking know that, in my opinion.
He at the very least went to the GM meetings and poisoned everybody. So you gotta appreciate
those guys in
that.
V.
That's right.
Loaf,
that was going to be my thank you, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Loaf, if he comes out and he signs a good free agent, like a solid free agent at a price that is almost market, is that when you over right away or no?
No, I mean,
they're making some changes.
That would be a good start. Here's what I'd like to see in this offseason. I'd like to see him fill in all the spots, position player spots, with major league players. Okay, and not depend on anyone from our minors. So that means I want you to buy a right fielder. I want you to buy a shortstop. I want you to buy a second baseman. I want you to buy a catcher. Okay. You buy all those positions, legitimate guys. One of them could be a real, more of a flyer, like an Elvis Andrus type guy. That's fine.
Salvador Perez.
But real guys Salvi's not a real catcher anymore. Put real guys in those spots, and to me, that's a step in the right direction. That's saying, okay, we're at least serious about some movement forward here. I understand they're going to mess with the pitching a little bit because they got Brian Bannister, and they feel like they have some good arms coming that aren't ready yet, but they want to just have some spots that there's some potential. But the position player spots, there's no one to fill in those spots right now. They're a year away, basically. Maybe they're a half year if you get lucky. Put real guys in every one of them spots. Okay. And to me, that'll be the next step in the right direction. Then I'll still be paying attention.
Okay, good. All right.
Guys, you know what time it is? Thank yous and GFYs, my friends.
Oh, baby. Oof.
MSS, who are you thinking? Or GFYing?
I'm GFYing everyone that responded to my Gordon Beckham tweet with, he can't do color. Listen, I know you're bald.
Can't do play-by-play.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're great. Can't do play-by-play. Listen, I've been drinking a lot of Knob Creek, man. Take it easy. Take it easy, man. Why you gotta do that? But no, anyway, everyone that is, you're fucking bald and you're obviously pissed off because he has great hair. That's why you hate him. So just take your own feelings out of it and just become one of us and just want Gordon to be there as a color guy.
You know what? I got to call bullshit on you, my friend. You brought this up for a second. If you would have just left it the first time, I would have fucking left it alone. But now you want to bring it back up.
Let's do it.
What job is open, motherfucker? The play-by-play job is open.
That's right. Tell him, Treasy.
I get it.
That's why people said it.
I know why people said it, but what I'm saying is that was not the tweet. The tweet was not, we need him to replace Jason Benetti right now. It was, Ben said, hey, is this what you want? And I said, yeah, actually I would take him. I like him. He's gotten better over these last 2 years.
I didn't say he needs Ben's tweet. Ben's tweet is this what you want for a play-by-play guy? Because that's the fucking open job.
I don't think it wasn't clear to me.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Hey, do you like Gordon Beckham?
Listen, it wasn't clear to me. It seemed like, do you like Gordon Beckham? That's what it said.
MSS misinterpreted it, so fuck everybody else.
I'm just
That's
saying.
basically what he said.
Listen,
CJ,
it wasn't clear.
keeping the rules.
Thank you,
Keeping
CJ.
the rules, guys. Cheers.
Wasn't clear. Ben should be more fucking clear then.
He'll write you a DM next time. Tell
Maybe
me.
you
please.
should be. Maybe you should be more clear.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should.
Beef,
My bad.
Beef, who are you thinking?
I want to thank Mr. Sugar Penis on Twitter for a beautiful discourse on flatulence on planes and elsewhere, actually. It was a very nice chat with a true gentleman and tutor. So I thank you, Mr. Sugar Penis.
You got to fill me in here.
That was very
I had a tweet about, well, it's okay. So Mr. Sugar Penis and I follow each other back from one of the passing incidents. So whenever, every time I get dunked on my passing, like the run, if you have run-ins with some of these big guys, there's a group of people they fucking mess with all the time. And Rosenthal messed with Mr. Sugar Penis a long time ago. There's like an old tweet of like, yeah, read the article, Mr. Sugar Penis, like a ridiculous from like 2013, right? So he followed me after one of the passing things. So we occasionally will go back and forth. And I put a tweet out about how I held in a fart for 2.5 hours on a plane and asked if it was the Guinness Book of World Records. And then we started going back and forth on fart tweets about holding them in and the noises and everything. It was just like a long, I meet people out on Twitter. I'm sorry.
MSS, is it insane?
Wow.
Is it insane that Beef is in a support group of guys that have been fucked with by National Baseball writers?
Yes.
guys that vote on Rookie of the Year and Cy Young have fucked with this support group. I kind of love that.
It's not just guys. It's not just guys. Patches O'Houlihan at Sandra. She's a Yankees fan. She followed me the other day. Like, she's another one. Got in
Definitely
run-ins
not
with
a guy.
There's a group of us that we get into it sometimes with these people in there. But anyway, regardless, thank you, Mr. Sugar Penis.
How can I follow thank you, Mr. Sugar Penis? Oh, my God.
Thank you, Krusty Beaver, for all your very nice advice about how to do whatever.
I want to thank you too. Because like there was a moment right before the show that it was possible I wasn't going to be able to join, and both of you guys were like, "We'll just roll. We'll do it. We got it. Don't worry." And I appreciate that. So thank you to you two motherfuckers. Even though I could see in both your eyes you wanted a host, and that shit. You might get a week or two here. You might get a week soon. Keep your fucking paws off the controls, you motherfucker. I saw you clicking buttons tonight, my sex
love
summer.
hosting.
I saw you clicking buttons.
I want to produce. I'm going to start producing. Once I'm down to one computer on this standing desk, I'm going to be all over the place, man. I'm going to be like a fucking spider monkey.
MSS, you got 10 seconds. Tell me why you should be the host of this show.
Oh, I don't want to be the host.